PFF. They posted a new mock drafts. The new mock draft on Twitter. So I want to react to this today because, as you know, I do like PFF. I like to use their mock draft simulators. And I like to see what they say when they go ahead and post the mock drafts. So starting off right away, it says projected trade will have a little asterisk next to it. So, for example, they have the Vikings trading up to the number 4 overall pick to get J.J. McCarthy. Now, of course, as you know, the Vikings went ahead and just traded some picks to get the Texans picks so that they could get more ammunition to potentially trade up. Sorry that I keep taking my webcam off. For some reason my nose right now is messed up and I keep almost sneezing, so I apologize for that. Nonetheless, though, Caleb Williams is projected to go pick number 1 to the Chicago Bears. I think this is pretty much all but confirmed. Everyone knows this. Everyone, agrees to this, that it's going to be Caleb Williams, period. Drake May is going to be pick number 2, according to PFF, to the Washington Commanders, and Jaden Daniels is going to be pick number 3 to the Patriots. So the Cardinals are going to trade out of this pick with the Vikings, which isn't really too unrealistic. I will say, though, to a certain degree, I don't agree with this in any way. Unless the Cardinals get a bag, right? If the Cardinals get an absolute bag, then yes, that's possible. But you got to think about the fact that the Cardinals just lost Rondale Moore and they lost Hollywood Brown. So they have no receivers, like none at all. And they didn't really sign any receivers this offseason. So to pass up on Marvin Harrison Jr., arguably the best receiver in this draft, bar none, I would be heavily surprised to see them do that. Even if the Vikings were to have traded up and, give them the bag, as they would say, I don't know. I mean, here's what I'll say, right? It's a great receiver class. This receiving class this year is very, very good. So it's very possible if they do get the bag, they just draft a receiver later on. But again, like I said, even if you draft a receiver later on with how good this class is, you're not going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. You're just not. So it's interesting to see them do that. Then they have Romeo Duzé, where they have Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the Chargers, which I think is most realistic. They need a wide receiver. They have nobody. Romeo Duzé going to the Giants. And here's another thing I think really interesting. The fact that Romeo Duzé is going over Malik Neighbors, I think, is kind of crazy. Malik Neighbors is an absolute monster. I think Romeo Duzé is really good too, but I would go Malik Neighbors over him personally. Joe Alt, number 7, that makes sense to the Titans. Dallas Turner, number 8, okay. Number 9, they have Chicago going with Malik Neighbors, okay. So they get Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors. The Cardinals are going to trade back to get a cornerback, Quinnen Mitchell, okay. Again, very interesting. They don't go wide receiver. Now, of course, the first couple that are the amazing receivers are off the board, but still, I expect them to potentially go for receiver there. Troy goes to the Washington guy goes to the Jets. Fuaga goes to the Eagles, and this is actually a trade up via Washington. So this is a divisional trade here, where the Washington Commanders are going to give up their pick for the Eagles to take Fuaga. Okay, interesting. Taron Arnold goes to the Raiders. That's pretty much a typical Raiders pick. Go with defense. Offensive tackle Penn State goes to the Saints. Brock Bowers to the Colts. And Jackson Powers Johnson goes to the Seahawks. So now with us on the board, well, we're technically Jacksonville's on the board, then us. You got J.C. Latham, right? You got Marius Mims, okay. You got Johnny Newton. You also got Byron Murphy the second. You have a lot of great players, if you're Cincinnati, you could go with in this situation. So just don't go Brian Thomas Jr. And honestly, here's another thing. I'll say, if I'm the Cardinals 11, I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. He had a fantastic combine. He looks like an absolute superstar. There is no way I'm not going Brian Thomas Jr. at number 11 if I'm the Cardinals. Especially if you trade back like that. Beside the point. Who is going to us? All right, so they have us going J.C. Latham, which I think is a very realistic trade. You got Trent Brown. You just picked him up. You now have a veteran right tackle at the position. And then you're going to go ahead and draft a rookie franchise right tackle who played at a very high level at Alabama. This is a pro level system he was in. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be able to perform at a high level. And you don't have to throw him out to the Wolves right away. You can have him sit behind Trent Brown, learn behind Trent Brown, and get to a point where he feels comfortable enough to become the starter and be able to take over this whole entire team. And that's a W. Also, Johnny Newton goes number 19 to the Rams. I love how they actually put Johnny Newton now, which is what he wants to be called. So I think that's a, obviously W there, but kind of funny. Cooper DeJean goes to the Steelers. That's like a typical Steelers pick, in all honesty. Mitchell goes to the Jags. Okay, so another receiver off the board. I still don't understand why they wouldn't have the Cardinals taking a wide receiver. I know they need defense, they do, but you literally just gutted your receiving core and lost all your receivers. You would think that they would try to go and replace that. Byron Murphy II goes to Dolphins. Bo Nix to the Broncos. They trade up with Philly, it looks like. They trade down because Philly, actually, pick 12 was the Broncos. So this actually... Okay, so now I'm confused because it says via Washington. Did they... Oh my lordy, hold up. Did Washington trade with Denver then traded with Philly? Because number 12 pick was originally the Broncos pick. This originally is Broncos pick. And then it says via Washington. So that means that Broncos traded to Washington. Washington traded it to Philly. And yeah. And then obviously via Philly. So Washington traded to Philly. No, Washington. Oh, lordy. Okay, so Washington had the pick. Denver had the pick. Traded it to Philly. But somehow Washington's in here too. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, so not really surprising there. And then our last bunch here is going to be, they take a defensive lineman. They're not going wide receiver at all. Feel bad for Kyler Murray. Xavier Worthy, I would hate this. This right here would be the absolute pain in my side. For them to get that fast of a receiver, that's the last thing that they need right now, is to get a great receiver. And I think he could be a great receiver. He's the guy who broke the combine record. Darius Mims goes to the 49ers. Tyler Guyton goes to the Chiefs. I'm okay with this because I don't think Tyler Guyton is really that good, and I think that's going to help us out if he's not that good. Brian Thomas Jr. goes to the Bills. That's actually a really good fit for him, especially with Josh Allen, big arm. You got a field-stretching wide receiver. Could work out very, very well. So, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, though. I'll see you guys in the next one.